first memory as a child who was going to school,
You can ask my little question.
elementary school.
And what do you remember about school?
My first grade teacher was named Miss Love, and I was very close to her. And we got along real good. And from that first grade experience, I was able to accomplish first through the sixth, and then move on to junior high, which they do not have a junior high now. They have 9th grade through 12th grade at high schools now, which I went to a separate school, which was Northwest Junior High on Bettisford Road. It was 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. So that's a lot of difference in the 9th grade.
What would you have liked to learn differently in your life?
Never wanted to go to Vietnam. But that was the way it was. And what the president ordered you to do, you be obedient to love and protect your country.
What was your experience like in the war?
I was sent to Vietnam, but I never had missions there. I was an aviator on a helicopter, and all my missions was in Laos and Cambodia. And it's hard to talk about that. It's hard to explain it to you. Being at the time, I was only 19 years of age, and I was living a bigger life and 10,000 miles around the world that I never expected to experience. So I'll leave that there. That's the best I can say about it.
What were each of your parents like when you were growing up?
Well, very strict. Real strict. When it was time for dinner or supper or whatever, we ate together. It wasn't, I'm going to eat later or I don't want that. You ate whatever was put before you. And you had your time to go to sleep, go to bed. You know, it wasn't coming in all times of night. They were real strict, which made me a better person.
What is the most difficult thing that has ever happened to you, and how did you deal with it?
Most difficult? Well, when I got pregnant, and I was 17, and I thought that was the most difficult thing. But I managed to get through it with an understanding parent, and the neighbors, y'all pitched in and helped me raise the child. But I thought it was the most difficult thing. But through it all, it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
What have been the 3 biggest news events during your lifetime?
Well, assassination of Martin Luther King, President John F. Kennedy, and all the,
Farrakhan.
yeah, the civil rights.
My name is Faye
Hi, Miss Faye.
Gause, Gause. I am from Virginia. I was born and raised in Virginia on several farms, and we had overseas. So,
Well, I'm Bobby Thompson, which y'all know me, and I was raised mostly here in Charlotte, but I was born in Lancaster, South Carolina, and part of Rock Hill, and I'm a farm girl.
If you had the power to solve one problem in the world, what would it be?
Not one problem in the world. Children carrying guns, killing one another, and let's get back to what we love one another so it's growing. That's what the most important thing I would stop first.
yeah, and another thing is that I think children have lost that ethic of working to gain something. We work so hard on the farms, because that's what we had to do. But they don't have to work like that now. But they need to work somewhere and do something, and they just got a little bit off track in working, You don't have to work on the farm, but you need to work somewhere. When I was young, we had to work on the farm. We had to do everything on the farm. We had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. When the train go by, we had to be up, getting ready to go out to the tobacco fields. Get the tobacco out of one barn, take it to another, and then prime the tobacco and tie it up and put it back in the barn before the sun go down at night. Then we pick cotton. And then when the cotton season was over, then when the springtime came, we had all of these butter beans and string beans, and we had to pick all of those things in the hot sun and then take them to town and sell them. It was always something to do on the farm. Yes, and we had, like most people had overseers, they had white overseers, they slave owners or whatever you call them. But ours was black. He was a black overseer that had lots of land and lots of money, and he worked us far more than the white man did. He sure did. We worked hard. When we got up at 4 o'clock in the morning, you weren't going nowhere until the sun went down that evening. We couldn't start the school when school started. You had to wait until the tobacco was out of the field. You didn't go to school at the beginning of September. You had to wait until all the tobacco was in the barns. Then you could go to school. You had one pair of shoes all winter long until the next tobacco was sold, and that one pair of shoes were out. That was it. You had to figure out what you was going to do with them. So you know what we did? Anybody can guess? No? We cut up a cardboard and put it in the bottom of your shoes, and you wore those shoes. Because you had to go to school because you couldn't go in September, so you went when you could. So that's how we made it through the winter months.
What was your reaction when you first learned about the Martin Luther King assassination?
Your first reaction when you heard about the Martin Luther King?
Oh, I did a little bit marching in the Martin Luther King was back in the civil rights days.
In his assassination?
Yeah, and I did the marching here in Charlotte, and I did marching in Greensboro. But my fascination towards him, I got to see him, but I didn't get to meet him. I was at the place where he was, but I didn't get a chance to shake hands with him or talk with him or anything like that. But it was just a fascination that people that want, white and black, they wanted some change in the world. They wanted some change in the world, and I was a part of that. And it makes me feel now that I was a part of that history. The lesson? My lesson is trying to do the much as I can while I have the breath to do it with baby. Ain't much as I can't really do that's, in machine work, because like I said before, I used to drive a truck, and I know how to do them tires and things on them trailer trucks I could not change. But a car, I can change tires on that, and put the batteries in, put the lights in or whatever, change the seats and everything. But things that got now, some stuff all jammed up there together. You don't know what you're getting doing now. But other things is more easy. Back in them days, it's more easy to plug up and do a thing. And I did that. So, but them trucks, tires was bigger than I am to try to change them. But
Well, I learned gratefulness. I learned how to be grateful. I'm not mad at anything that I've been through in life, and I've been
Hey,
through a
Gwen.
lot. But I learned how to be grateful and to respect and love people all along the way.
Do you have any advice for us?
yes, just be as sweet as you are, and listen to mom and dad, and the other people that's trying to tell you something good. And then some things that, like you may not say, well, you know, you may not think it's good for you. Go away. Don't stand in, you know, battle with them. Just walk away and then think about it yourself and see what you can bring into that picture.
And
You
God
know,
gives you
and
an
listen to one another.
inter feeling. So you know when something's wrong. And when God gives you that inter feeling, some people call it intuition, but he gives it to you, you are to take it, use it. Don't overlook it, you know, like we have in the past. Because when he gives you that, he's giving it to you for a reason. And if there's something, just like he gave it to me when I drank that wine that night. I didn't know nothing about drinking wine. But something in my spirit told me not to do it, but then I wanted to be like the rest of my friends, you know. So when I went home, I said drunk, but it really, you know, it wasn't that much wine that it made me drunk, but it took me out of my character. It took me out of myself. And if something's going to take you out of yourself, you don't need to do it. But something in the inside told me that I shouldn't have, and I know that I shouldn't have. But I overlooked that. So when something comes into your spirit that you shouldn't do, pay attention. Don't do it, especially if you know it's bad. If you know it's bad, just don't do it. Stick with the good.
I was born